Hey, everybody, welcome back to the I Play 2 podcast. I'm your host, Rob Adler. This week, Michigan defenseman Luca Fantilli joins the show. As a junior player with the Chicago Steel of the United States Hockey League, he helped win a league title his first season and was named the captain and had 24 points in his second. As a freshman at Michigan, Luca scored his first goal in a 7-3 win versus rival Penn State, and the Wolverines would go on to play in the Frozen Four. In his sophomore season, Luca had a key assist in the 4-3 win over North Dakota in the regional semifinal, which was part of a return to the Frozen Four for the Wolverines. His brother, Adam Fantilli, won the Hobey Baker Award in 2023 as college hockey's best player and was a teammate of Luca's at Michigan, and now Adam plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Luca, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. How you doing today?
I'm good. Just got out of practice. Ready to get this show on the road here.
Excellent. How do you feel about the upcoming season?
I'm super pumped. We have a lot of new guys this year, but we have also a lot of returners and guys who know how to make it to the Frozen Four, make it far in playoffs. And I consider all the guys on my team all my brothers. So I'm just excited to see where we go next year.
It's a little bit of a change for you being more of an upperclassman this year than your first two seasons. How have you embraced more of a leadership role?
I've learned from the guys before me. I've had great leaders here before that have taken me under their wing, and I've learned from them, and I'm just trying to reciprocate and do what I could do for the boys. I was a captain in Chicago, and I really took a lot of pride in that role, and I'm trying to just do that now. And I know what it's like as a young guy coming into college. Like, you're scared, you're nervous, like you don't know what to expect, the different pace of the game and school and everything. So I just try to do my best to make sure all the guys are taken care of and make sure they're doing all right and they're comfortable where they are with their classes and what we're doing on the ice, and just kind of supporting them in any way they need.
I've heard you're sort of the unofficial hype man for the team.
I don't know how you got that one, but yeah, I definitely like to bring the energy in the room, especially on like game days, even like practices when you don't want to be at the rink, it's cold out and we're deep in the season. Like, I definitely try to bring the energy, dancing around the room, playing good music, smiling, cracking jokes. I definitely try to get all the boys hyped up on game day, just kind of doing handshakes with the guys, firing all the boys up and getting them all ready to go. So yeah, it's super fun. I enjoy it.
I've read a story, it just kind of happened, but was there anything that led up to it?
I remember last year, my sophomore year, every time we go on the ice, we do like the starting lineup, the national anthem, and then we skate around and we all kind of get in a huddle on the ice in front of the net. And normally one guy says like a speech just to kind of get the boys fired up. And it's normally like an older guy, but I was like a sophomore last year, and our captain, Jacob Truscott, came up to me like halfway through the year because he was doing it. And he goes, "Hey man, like, you want to give it a go?" Absolutely. I was real nervous. I mean, I think like the whole starting lineup and the whole national anthem, I was thinking of what I was going to say to these guys to get them fired up for the game. But I basically just got in there and just spoke from my heart and started screaming it at everyone a little bit and getting them all juiced up. And I mean, the boys absolutely loved it. And I just kind of done it ever since. So it's kind of stuck.
What's it like to play hockey in Ann Arbor with the tradition that Michigan has?
It's so electric. It's so special to actually put on that jersey. It's like, it's a feeling you can't really explain. It's all the past like history and all the guys that have come before you and all the championships and all the history, and just you're wearing it on your chest and you're bringing that into Yost. The city of Ann Arbor expects a lot from Michigan hockey because it's given a lot. So it's definitely a big weight to carry, but it's also expected, and it's the most fun thing in the world. Like, it's obviously a football town. They love their basketball team, but Yost absolutely rocks on a Friday and Saturday night. And it's so exciting to play in front of, and you're just trying to make the guys that have worn the jersey before you proud.
You mentioned how much fun it is to play in Yost. So what is a favorite game that you've played in Yost that Michigan won?
Ooh, that I played in Yost that we won. Maybe when we won the Big Ten semifinals against Ohio State. I think that was my freshman year. That one, or the playoffs this year against Notre Dame. I thought the roof was just absolutely going to come off. Or there's so many. Like, my brother's first goal in Yost was electric. And the game Luke Hughes had 4 goals, and we came back to beat Penn State. That one was crazy. I mean, it's just the fans keep you in the game at Yost. Like the children of Yost and all the fans in there are so crazy. They always support you if you're winning or losing. So like getting back in the game is super easy because you just want to hear them get louder. So those would probably be the big couple games there.
What was it like to play with your brother at Michigan?
It's actually probably the most special experience I'll ever have in my entire life. There's so many things that go into it because you think it's just so cool you're playing with your brother, but I got to see what a Hobey Baker winner and like a professional hockey player like does in college. I lived with him in the dorms. We were roommates and we would do everything together. Like that guy was the first one out there and the last one to leave. Like he was so dialed in. It actually made me a way better hockey player, even though I'm the older brother. But like getting dressed in the room before the game and you look across the room and you see like your little brother, you're both putting on that jersey together and walking out of the tunnel right beside each other. And it's like a dream because when you grow up, you're playing like mini sticks in the basement or like you're playing street hockey and you actually like dream of that moment. And like when we got to actually do it for real, it was the feeling you can't really describe, but it was just something we tried to take in as much as we can. Definitely something I'll never forget.
Living in the dorm as roommates, who was more of the serious one and who was the practical joker?
I think it's pretty easy to tell Adam was the more serious one and I was kind of the practical joker. I mean, his side of the dorm was always spick and span, super clean. Mine was a mess. I had like piles of laundry I had to do, garbage everywhere. He would always get really, really mad at me about that. He'd always tell me to clean it up. He would give me a lot of trouble for that. But yeah, he was definitely the cleaner one, more strict.
Was there a favorite joke or prank that you pulled on him while you guys were there?
I don't think it was much us like pulling pranks on each other. It was more us doing like pranks on like other people in the dorms. And because the dorms are like really, really big. There's like 8 floors and the 9th floor is like a study room, but there's like so many people in the dorms. So I think we got into like a war, like a little prank war with the women's lacrosse team. Me and my class, Adam, Seamus Casey, Gavin Brindley, Rucker McGroarty, Keenan Draper, like all those guys. We all kind of got into like a prank war with them and it got pretty serious. So we definitely enjoyed pranking other people together, that's for sure.
So I'm going to ask you, who won? You were the women's lacrosse team.
I don't think it actually like ended. I think it just went till the end of the year and I think it was just kind of over. I think ours were a little more serious and they got a little upset at us for that, but they had some really good ones that we weren't expecting and it just made us want to like retaliate even more. So they fueled the fire.
Because you're living away from home, living with your brother, how were you able to lean on each other?
I don't think I could have moved away from home and stuff like without Adam. He's honestly like my best friend in the whole world. And like being able to have my best friend and my brother like by my side the whole way through was honestly like the biggest gift I've ever could have gotten. Even though he's the younger brother, he's so mature from like a young age that I would literally just try and do everything he did. Obviously, he put in more work than I did. I try to put as much work as I can. Obviously, I'm a really hard worker, but that guy is just an absolute dog. And I leaned on him a lot. If we have a game that night, he's drinking like 30 bottles of water to stay hydrated. So I'm trying to drink 30 bottles of water. He's doing recovery after practice. I'm trying to do recovery after practice. Or like even off the ice, he's eating healthy. Like I'm trying to eat healthy. It was a lot of me learning from him because he was such a pro at a young age. So I definitely learned a lot from him. But I think I also reciprocated with that. I think it was a big help having me as well as a bit of a comfort for him being away from home. But I thought we were such a good duo. Like no matter where we went, if it was Kimball Union Academy or the Chicago Steel or Michigan, you couldn't separate us. We're like right beside each other. We're always really close. And that was probably the biggest thing for me moving away from home was having Adam.
Last year was the first season that you'd really been apart. How much was an adjustment for you?
I mean, it was definitely like a really big adjustment being away from him. But I think I've lived with him for so long and I've seen all the habits that he has. And being away from him, it was kind of a test on myself, right? Like, okay, now that he's gone, he's not here to watch me. Like, what am I going to do when Adam's not looking, even though it sounds like he was like my dad? But it wasn't. It's just like I learned all the stuff that he did. And it was hard being away from him. You know, when I like spending more time with in the world than Adam, but we FaceTimed every day. We were always checking in on each other, but it was hard not playing with him and being with him every second, like all the time. But I definitely try to do some of the stuff that he has taught me over the years and that I've seen him do. So it was more of a test of myself. I'd say it was actually really good.
What was it like to go play at Ohio State in Columbus and have him watch you play just as a fan?
That was really weird, but it motivated me so much. I don't know why, but I think it was number one because we were playing Ohio State and we don't like them very much. But then also because my little brother was there watching, and it wasn't like he was playing with me. He was like just there to watch me, and that meant a lot to me. So I tried so hard in that game to like get a couple points or score or something like that because I just wanted to make him happy and make it worth his time to come watch me. But my dad was talking to me too, and he was the happiest guy in the world just sitting there watching you play. So it was really special for both of us. We gave each other a big hug after the game, and it was definitely a special moment for both of us. I think there's a picture actually. I posted on Instagram. I think it's like in one of my photos, but it's like me on the ice and then like Adam in the stands, and you could see his head and like me on the ice. It's a really cool picture.
We just touched on the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry. Could you expand on that and just how much of a rivalry it is? And that's just not in hockey. I would say that's in all sports.
It's just such a big rivalry. Like Michigan doesn't like Ohio. Ohio doesn't like Michigan. Like it's an absolute war when you play each other. Obviously, I'd say the rivalry is a little worse in football. I'd say we have a bigger rivalry with Michigan State in hockey than Ohio State, but we definitely still like hate each other because of it. We take it as serious as the football guys do, and we don't like them at all.
Speaking of football, have you had a chance to go to a game in the Big House? Because I know the seasons kind of overlap.
Yeah, we've actually had the chance to go to a couple this year. We get to go to the first few every year before our season starts. So we went to the Texas one, the USC game. We've gone to a few, so it's been really, really cool.
That USC game, that was a heck of a comeback.
The place was going nuts. It was absolutely crazy.
You mentioned a little bit about the Michigan State rivalry. Could you kind of talk a little bit more in depth about that?
If you look at the history, we just have never liked each other, obviously. We call him our little brother. We're just not big fans of each other. We don't like green. They don't like blue. But it's a completely different hockey game when you go out and you play those guys. Both teams want to win so bad that you're just willing to like kill each other to absolutely win the game. So it's just an absolute war zone out there. Michigan State's a really good hockey team right now. Like they have a great squad. We had some great battles against them last year, but it's honestly the most fun hockey like I think I'll ever play. It's just the most intense environment to be in when both crowds are going. It's just a game you don't want to miss, and it's so fun to play in. But they're a good team, and you have to bring your A game against them no matter what.
So I take it those games are circled on the calendar every year.
Yeah, and Sharpie.
Taking a little bit of a step back here, how did your interest in hockey begin?
It was my dad. He had me skating at like 2 years old. You're starting to skate, you don't really know much about it, but as soon as I could remember what hockey was, I fell in love with it, and it's been my life ever since. So, I mean, I've just kind of taken that and ran with it my whole life.
How did you end up choosing to play on the defensive side?
I was actually like a forward growing up for a little bit, and then I tried defenseman one game, and I absolutely loved it. Like I love being able to like quarterback a play and make cool passes, like breakout passes, skate the puck, like go end to end. It was really fun for me, and like, I love just like breaking up plays in the D zone and stuff like that. Obviously, you appreciate that other stuff more now, but like back then, I just kind of like being able to skate the puck and make plays. But other than that, that's how I kind of got into defense. And my dad, he loves defense as well. He wanted me to play D, so he loved it. I loved it, and we just kind of ran with it.
Oh, your brother's a forward. What was it like having to block those shots every day?
Yeah, it wasn't fun. He's got a rocket of a shot. I remember we have a hockey rink. It's literally like 2 minutes from my house. Like you could walk there. And we had skates. My dad can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like 3 or 4 skates every week at 7 a.m. before school. And we would always be late for school because me and Adam would never get off the ice. With our instructor, Dave Demetrio, who's still our skills instructor coach today, he would come out with us, and it was just me and Adam out there, and we would absolutely just battle our faces off the entire press because we just wanted to compete against each other. And he was a forward, I was a D, and he would try and dangle me and I'd try and hit him. So it was healthy competition, but sometimes my dad would have to run on the ice and break up a fight or two pretty often. But those are the days that I wish I could go back to because those were a blast.
I can't imagine mom would be too happy to hear that you guys were fighting on the ice.
No, she was not at all. She hated that we even went to the skates because we were late for school and she had to deal with all the teachers. So she wasn't a big fan of that.
How important was your mom in maybe just getting you to practices or making sure you got your homework done, that kind of stuff?
She was so crucial. It was her and my dad. And me and Adam have everything to thank. We owe them everything. They've spent so much money on us. They've been at every game, every practice, the most supportive parents in the world. Like my mom, we have like family events, family vacations, like stuff like that she's always wanted to do that she had to give up because me and Adam had hockey. And she works a full-time job and she works really hard. And she would always make it to our games. She'd always find time to bring us to the rink, make us dinner before our games, before our practices. She was our absolute rock through our whole careers, and she still is. And I wouldn't be even close to where I am without her. She's my rock for sure.
Sounds like she's the all-star of the family.
Yeah, absolutely is. She keeps my dad in line sometimes too, so it's pretty good.
Is there anything you miss about living at home?
I'm Italian, so me and Adam have a really big Italian family. We have a lot of aunts, uncles, cousins on my mom and my dad's side, and I'm super close with my family. Like to me and Adam, family is everything. So being away from them is really hard. I miss them a lot. I try and call them as much as I can, even though I wish I could call them more, but definitely being away from them and my friends at home and my parents and just being away from your own bed. But you get used to it. Like I have a whole family over here in Michigan and they're my brothers and my teammates and they're awesome. So definitely miss being back home in Toronto, but I mean, I couldn't be more happy to be here.
You sound a lot like the late Matt Goudreau, who I had on my podcast back in June. Just how close you are to your family, just how close you are to your brother, and how everything else is number two after that.
Yeah, I mean, those Goudreau brothers, I pray for them and their families every single night. And I know Adam is really close with Johnny, and Adam always says the same thing. Like, Johnny loved his brother so much and loved his family, and they were big family boys. And it's definitely a really, really sad thing that happened, an absolute tragedy. But I'm praying for them every single night because they had a big, big impact on the hockey world and they're idols that me and Adam definitely look up to.
Did you ever get a chance to meet John? Because I know he and Adam were teammates.
I ran into him a couple times just with Adam. I never got to get to know him too well, but from the stories Adam has told me, he was an unbelievable guy.
Speaking of family and being from a large Italian family, do you miss those big family meals?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I miss. To be honest, the meals are absolutely unbelievable. Like my nonna, she makes her signature gnocchi pasta, and the spread she puts out for us all the time is the best thing in the world. I mean, if I ever need to go put on some weight or something for the next season, I could just go live with her for a week because I'll put it on real quick. But she makes the best food in the world. So does my mom, and I definitely miss those big family meals and spreads where there's laughs with the family and just some good food.
When you have the time, which with the season upcoming, you probably won't have as much, do you ever make something for yourself while you're at school?
We have a bunch of little chefs in the house I'm living in right now in Ann Arbor. So we definitely try and cook as much as we can. And I know we all really love to. So we definitely try and chef up a little bit.
What's your signature dish that you like to make?
I love making just steak and rice. That's probably my go-to. I love making a nice ribeye with just some rice and some soy sauce something on there and maybe some veggies, but not too many. Some of the other boys, I know Tyler Duke, he lives in our house. He loves doing seafood dinners. He has a little Blackstone hibachi grill that he loves to absolutely just chef up on and make the boys a house dinner on, and we just have a blast with it.
Steak, rice, and veggies. I'm gonna have to come to Ann Arbor. That's right up my alley.
I'm Italian too, obviously, so I love making pasta and stuff like that. If my mom or something gives me their sauce or something, I'll be making pasta steady because I'll just be pouring that sauce on there. It's so good.
That is taunting. I'm giving you 2 minutes from sportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Speaking of food and the Italian background, Christy, your SID told me you went to Italy over the summer. What was that like?
We did like the whole kind of thing. We started doing like the whole Amalfi Coast. We did like Capri, Sorrento. Then we went from there and we went to Rome and we visited our family in Rome. I have a lot of family in Rome. It was nice going to see them and visiting them. And then after Rome, we went to Sardinia, which is kind of like an island. And then from Sardinia, we went to Tuscany and finished in Tuscany. And it was like the most unbelievable trip I think I've ever been on. I went to Italy 2 years prior, and I think I might want to live there when I'm older.
Well, they do have hockey there.
Yeah, they do. I would love to play in Italy. That'd be awesome.
What was your favorite part of the trip?
Like just being there with Adam and my parents, my cousin, and my aunt and uncle came on the trip as well. I think just being able to spend time with them. I don't get to see them too much very often. So just being able to spend that time with them was probably the best thing of the trip. But I mean, other than that, I think just seeing my family in Rome and being able to sit down with them and have a family dinner there. They don't even speak much English. I have to translate through my dad, but they're like the sweetest, most kind people. And being able to sit down with them and talk about their culture and all that stuff was really cool. So that'd probably be it.
Italy is one of those places I'd really like to get to. I've never been.
You have to go. It's an absolute blast, and the food and everything there is so good.
Homemade pasta and pizza are like my favorite foods. So yeah, I kind of think I have to.
If you go to like Italy and you have pasta and pizza there, and then you come back home and have pasta and pizza, you're going to think it's pretty gross. That's how good it is down there. Their food is just so good there that when you come home, it takes a bit getting used to because it's not even close to as good as it is down there.
Speaking of food, when you get the chance to go out in Ann Arbor, where do you like to go eat?
We have actually like a lot of spots we like to go. We have a breakfast spot that we go like almost every day. We know the owner there, his name's Chris. It's called the Stray Hen. It's like a little breakfast spot, but also they have like lunch and stuff. It's unreal to go. Like we go there for our pregame meals in the morning to get breakfast, even like before practice. A bunch of us will go and eat there. And then for dinner, we have like a lot of spots. We like Sava, the Chop House, Monty, which is an Italian place. But we kind of go all over the place, but we have like our signature spots that we like to go.
You ever been to Zingerman's?
Yeah, we've been to Zingerman's. They make a great sandwich.
They do, but the problem is you have to wait like 45 minutes to get it because the line's so long.
I know the line's crazy, but like me and the boys, when we go to Zingerman's, we kind of just walk around the store and kind of do like a little bit of shopping for like the groceries they have in there. But we just like to look around.
That was one of those that I had to get to when I was in Ann Arbor.
Zingerman's is so good. Like it's unbelievable.
Have you ever been to the art fair that they do there every year?
They did it and like right before school started back up and they were doing the art fair, but I think it was on like a weekend that I had to go back to Toronto for, so I didn't get to go. But I know a couple guys actually went and they said it was actually really cool. Like they were just walking around, like looking at the art and stuff. Like it was just something to do. So they said it was definitely pretty cool.
Going a little bit backwards here, how did you and your brother end up with the Chicago Steel and the USHL?
Adam was obviously still deciding between the OHL and college. So it was a tough decision for him. But for me, when I went to Kimball Union Academy to play prep school, I had like a really good year there. And I ended up getting drafted by the Chicago Steel in the USHL draft and ended up committing to Michigan. So that was my path the whole way. Like that's what I was going to do. Go to Chicago for a couple of years and then head over to Michigan. But Adam kind of followed, like to be honest. He came to Kimball Union with me. It was like a few weeks after I was there. And then he came down and he's like, I'm done playing in Toronto. I want to come play with you down there. And I said, sure, like come on down. And we got to fulfill our dream of playing together. And while we were at Kimball, I was drafted prior to that year. And then I had my path, but then Adam was still deciding between the OHL and college. And he ended up just coming down to this decision that the USHL and college would be a better path for him. And he signed a tender agreement in Chicago to come play with me again and later committed to Michigan. So, I mean, it was just kind of perfect that our paths kind of lined up like that.
I know a little bit about Kimball, not a lot, but can you kind of describe where it is, what kind of school it is, that kind of stuff?
It's in like New Hampshire. It's a beautiful school. It's in the middle of nowhere. You have to drive through forest for like ever. And then you hit a school, like a really nice campus, and it's Kimball Union. And it's like the best. All the kids there, all the staff, all the teachers, like everyone is so awesome. And my coach there, Tim Whitehead, was an unbelievable coach. And he kind of took me under his wing. And I gained a lot of confidence from him. And playing under him, I learned a lot. But it also gets you ready for college, right? Because it's like I'm moving away from home and then I go to this school. It's like you have to learn how to live on your own, basically go to class, go to practice. Like it's the same lifestyle as college, but it's just not as big, obviously. It was definitely one of the best decisions I made in my entire life was to go to Kimball Union Academy. That was the best place in the world.
I think he was gone when you were there, but Jordan Harris, he had already left to go play college, right?
Yeah, he left, but I heard all the hype around him when I got down there. He was definitely, I heard, a really, really good player there. And he's obviously an unbelievable player now, and he's playing with Adam now. So Adam says he's a great guy and everything. So, I mean, that's really cool. You don't see a lot of players that go that far that made it out of Kimball. So it's really cool to see.
For you, what was the best advice? And it doesn't necessarily have to be about your hockey game that Coach Whitehead gave you.
What he said, I listened to very clearly, and he was an extremely smart man, extremely smart coach. But he kind of let me go out there and kind of not do what I wanted, but let me make mistakes, let me learn, let me have fun. I think the biggest thing I learned from him was how to build my confidence and how to play with confidence. And that was the turning point of my whole career, was playing with confidence. Because when I played with confidence, I was having fun. I was enjoying hockey. I was playing my best game, and it showed. I was putting up a lot of points. I was playing really good hockey. I ended up getting a commitment from Michigan. So that was definitely the biggest thing. But he also prioritized school, doing really well in school and having your grades be good and being a really good citizen off the ice. What you were doing in the dining hall, like were you acting like a donkey or were you being a respectful young man? Were you nice to your teachers in the classroom, like all that stuff. So he really taught me how to get to college and how to be a man going into the USHL in college. He was a terrific coach for me.
Do you still keep in touch with him?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We text back and forth here and there every once in a while, and it's always so nice hearing from him. I miss him a lot. I got to get down to Kimball to visit him soon, maybe watch the boys play a game or something.
Should have him come out to Michigan if he has a chance.
I think we're going to Boston University this year, so maybe he can come down for that, but I'm going to have to send him a text.
So, was there much of a transition from Kimball to Chicago just in terms of the size of the city itself?
Definitely yes, because at Kimball, you're literally just in like an area in the middle of the forest, and that's all you go. Like, you stay there. But going into Chicago, obviously living with the billet family, all that stuff is definitely different. But you're in the suburbs, so you're not really in the city. But we would go down to the city a lot. But my billets in Chicago were unbelievable. The Shirley family, they were like our parents away from home. They were the best. Like, I couldn't ask for better billets, and they took me and Adam into their family and made us feel like we were at home. So they were a big part of that.
What's a cherished memory you have with them that you'll always remember?
I got so many. Every night it was awesome. If it was like staying up late with my billet dad, watching football or like a movie or a show. Even with my billet mom, I know she loved The Bachelor, so me and Adam would watch that with her. If it was playing volleyball with our billet sister Leah, she's a really good volleyball player, so we love playing with her. Or even like going out skating or like just messing around with our billet brother Landon. He was the funniest guy. He was great. But I think that them taking us under their wing, like we literally felt like we were part of their family. Like they would take us out to dinner all the time. Like we would go to sushi and hibachi all the time. And that was always like a joke we had going out there with them, which was super special. But there's just so many memories that me and Adam have with them. It's awesome.
The Billet family is something that isn't as well known, I think, to Americans, especially in the southern part of the US. How important is it to have that foundation so you can focus on hockey in school?
It is the most important thing. When you're in juniors, you're at the rink for a certain time of the day, and then that's it. and you're back home with your billet family. I was so excited just to get back home every day just to see what the fam was up to. Like, they were so awesome. And I think having a billet family like we had was a big reason for me and Adam's success. They were so supportive. They were at almost every game. They were absolutely amazing. That's the biggest reason for me and Adam's success in Chicago, was being able to come home to that and not have any worries about that and not having to worry about that.
Oh, for sure. When you don't have to worry about what's going on outside of whatever you're trying to focus on, in your case, hockey, that makes life a whole lot easier.
110%. Like, they made our lives awesome. We were so fortunate, lucky to have them.
Do you ever get a chance to see them?
Not recently, but I think my billet brother is actually playing junior hockey now, I think an hour away from Ann Arbor. So we're definitely going to try and meet up. But if not, I think when we go down, we're playing in Chicago, so we're playing at Wrigley Field down there. So I'm going to see if I can get them to that game. That would be really, really special.
You're taking me to my next question. I love it. What's the anticipation like to be playing at such a storied venue like Wrigley?
I'm just so excited. Like, I'm shaking already just like thinking about it. I think it's going to be so special, and my family's going to come down to play in that building and just being able to play in that environment. Like, I think it's already sold out, some of the guys were saying, but where all that history has gone down and to be in that special place, like, it's going to be such a cool experience. And I'm just going to try and soak in every second of it.
Were you at all a baseball fan growing up?
I didn't mind it. Like, I watched it every once in a while, but I wasn't like a big baseball fan. But I love going to baseball games with my buddies, but not really the biggest fan. But like, I remember when I played juniors in Chicago, we went to a Cubs game, a White Sox game, a Milwaukee Brewers game. We kind of loved all going.
Away from the rink, do you watch sports? Are you a gamer or more of a TV watcher?
If hockey's on, I'm obviously going to watch that. I love watching hockey, so I'll watch as much hockey as I can. Big football guy on like football Sundays. If there's a football game on, definitely watching. But other than that, I'm a big like movie and TV show guy. I play video games like every once in a while, like with the guys if they're playing, but I'm more of like a watch a show with the boys or watch a movie with the boys kind of guy. Like, I love just binge watching a show or something like that.
Well, what are the shows you like to watch?
There's a lot. Right now, I'm watching Breaking Bad. That's pretty good. The Sopranos. My dad told me to watch that, so I've been watching The Sopranos a lot. And then me and Ethan Edwards are kind of grinding Your Honor. It's like a new show on Netflix. We get really into it too. Like, we turn all the lights off and get some snacks going and love to really dive into that. Just love watching it.
When it comes to movies, are you more of an action movie guy, comedy movie guy?
I'm definitely more of like a comedy guy. I love like a really funny movie. But I also like action. Like, probably one of my favorite movies is Gladiator. I love that movie. That's obviously more action, but definitely if I had to pick one, it'd be comedy.
Have you seen any of the classics like Airplane, Naked Gun, any of
Oh,
those?
absolutely. Yeah, my dad made me watch those when I was younger because he's like, you got to watch these. These are what movies are. So, all right. So he made me watch all those.
A hat tip to your dad because Airplane is one of my favorite movies.
Airplane's a funny one.
One thing I want to get in, because I know you have to get run in here, was you went to the Pittsburgh Penguins development camp in 2023. Can you kind of take me through what it was like to be there, how you got there? Because I know there was a story involving that with your brother at the draft as well.
We were in Nashville, obviously, for the draft, and Adam got drafted to Columbus the night prior. And then the next night we were doing Adam's draft party, and we had all of our family. I think we had, I'm not even kidding, like 150 to 200 people down there just for Adam in the draft. But we were on this rooftop club kind of like patio thing with like all my families and friends, and everybody's having a good time. Everything's great. We're celebrating Adam. And then I ended up getting a call from my advisor, and he was like, hey, Luca, like, I just got the phone with Kyle Dubas. They want you to come down to Pittsburgh tomorrow for development camp. So I was so excited, and I hung up the phone and I went up to my family and friends and I told them I was going to Pittsburgh Penguins development camp, and then everybody went pretty crazy and we had two things to celebrate that night. So me and Adam got to enjoy that together, and my family was just so excited. I think my mom and dad were about to pass out because I was going to Pittsburgh's development camp and Adam just got drafted to Columbus. I have a picture like hugging my mom after I told her, and it was just so exciting. But I remember I couldn't catch a flight because it was so late. So my dad, we actually flew back to Toronto the next day. My dad got in the car with me and we drove down to Pittsburgh that night after we got done the flight. And then I had to be up at 7 a.m. for the first day of Dev Camp the next day. And it was crazy, but it was such a great development camp. Like the guys that were there were so welcoming and super nice and awesome, like high compete. And the coaches and the staff and everybody in there was so first class, like really showed you what it's like to be an NHL hockey player and what it takes to get there. And they were absolutely awesome. It's an unbelievable organization.
So did you have your gear to be able to take even from home? I imagine some of your gear might have still been at Michigan.
Thank God I took it home for the summer around that time. So it was back home in Toronto. So I had to like fly back home, grab my gear, and then hit the road to Pittsburgh. But it was a really big turnaround. It was all in like one day.
Was there anything different attending a pro camp from some of the things that you do in college?
Our coaches in Michigan are so smart, like so next level with their video and their teaching. So it's like, I wouldn't even say there was a big difference at all, but definitely just like being in that life is different. Being in the NHL, you're definitely more nervous, and there's some of the best players in the world at those camps. So it's very high in competing. Everybody's competing for a job. So it's just a really highly competitive environment. And then you have your testing and everybody's trying to do their absolute best. So it's a tiring week, but it's a great experience. But I mean, being in Michigan, it's almost like being there because it's such a highly touted school and they hold us to a high standard. So we have to treat ourselves and play like that. That's what we try to replicate.
What was the biggest lesson that you took away from the development camp that you said, okay, this is what I need to do to take that next step?
For me, it was a lot of putting on weight and like muscle and like getting bigger. I obviously wanted to work on all aspects of my game, but when you get to that next level, like every single guy is an absolute tank. You're going to lose that one-on-one battle coming out of the corner or that puck race or something like that because you're not the biggest guy in the world. So for me, these past few summers, I've been trying to absolutely just hit the gym as hard as I can, put on as much muscle as I can, and put on as much weight as I can. And going into this year, I feel like absolutely great. I'm heavier, I'm stronger. So that's been the main thing I've been trying to work on.
Have you thought about playing professionally once your career is done? Because I know that's the goal of most college hockey players.
100%, that's my goal. Everybody's dream is to play in the NHL or to play pro hockey, and that's definitely my dream as well. Definitely love to play with Adam again one day. So trying to make that happen, but wherever the road takes me, we'll see what happens, but I'm going to do the best I can to get there.
Luca, I want to thank you so much for joining the I Play 2 podcast today and talking about your time at Michigan, how close you are with your brother and your family, hearing about that great trip to Italy. Thank you so much and continued success this season and whatever your hockey career takes you. Thank you again, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. I really appreciate it.